Morning. It's Nick Cordelleone. Am I saying it right?
Perfect. Yes, absolutely
Yay.
right.
I'm so excited because, Nick, you are playing my all time favorite character in The Lion King,
Yes.
Timon.
Yes. I love it. I love it. My favorite character too.
Well, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
When you auditioned for this, did you audition for Timon or was it just an all out audition?
So it was kind of an interesting experience. I was actually one of the readers. So a lot of folks were coming in auditioning for all sorts of different parts, and I would read everything opposite them. So I was reading Zazu, Mufasa, Sarabi, Young Nala, Simba, everybody.
So this was a
Timon.
job you had.
Yeah, yeah. So I was in
Wow.
between jobs. Yeah, and I
Hmm?
was able to be there and be in the room and read with folks. And so
Hmm.
that's how I sort of learned the show. Apart from just being a fan and enjoying the movie and the
Sure.
stage production. Um, but then as we sort of whittled it down, and got towards the end of auditions, the casting director said, "Hey, they might be interested in seeing if you would be interested in doing this. Is that something you're open to?" And I was like,
Yes.
"Absolutely, yeah, exactly." Without tripping and like, "Oh, wait, what'd you say?"
Yeah. What time? When do you want me there?
Yeah, yeah. I'm already moving. Where are we going?
Yeah.
Um, and so then yeah, the last day of auditions, Julie Taymor was there, and I was reading again every which way. And then at the last, basically the end of the day, and like, "All right, you ready to read for Timon?" "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So then we did, and then like, you're off to tour, and cut forward to at 12 years later now. So it was a life changing experience. It's been amazing.
12 years you've been touring?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. With the little
How long is it?
hiatus. So I started in 2010. Yeah.
Okay. And then how long was it? The COVID hiatus? Is that,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So I was still doing the lines, but there was just nobody there.
Oh, that's not good. No, no, how did that go? I mean, because I know it affected a lot of people in theater, and we did some work here locally with the local theaters trying to help people, not just on stage, but
Yeah.
behind the scenes as well.
Yeah. Oh, it was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad news, bad news. But we, unlike a lot of smaller theaters or other productions, we had Disney saying, "Hey, you have a job when this all settles down," which
That's
was,
so nice.
I mean, that peace of mind was unbelievable.
Wow.
Um, and so, yeah, just sort of waiting, knowing that there's going to be an audience hungry to come back and see live productions, period, let alone see some of their favorites like Lion King.
Yeah,
So
and you say
yeah,
favorites, but what about somebody like me, believe it or not, and I'm a huge theater person, I've never seen The Lion King on stage. Seen the movie about 50
great,
times.
great.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, I'm
good, good.
expecting something similar but different. What is
Yeah,
somebody going to expect?
that's exactly right. Yeah, you'll recognize it. I mean, absolutely, the story is timeless. So you'll know all
Mhm.
the characters, you know all the songs. But what happened with bringing it on stage is it afforded artists like Julie Taymor, like Lev O.M., like Garth Fagan, Michael Curry, all of these artists to really kind of exhale into the piece and let there's a very definitive South African heartbeat that happens that is not as present in the animated feature.
Mhm.
And
Love
so
that.
and you yeah, yeah, and you get to see ancient storytelling techniques, masks, silks,
Ooh.
bunraku puppets and shadow puppets. You get
Wow.
to see, yeah, really all sorts of unique things. It's not I think maybe somebody who's never heard about it at all might picture college mascots, big furry
Right.
costumes,
Yeah,
and kind of
that's
what.
kind of how I picture it. It's
Yeah,
not.
not that at all. No,
Oh.
very yeah, very sort of deeply artistic expressions, hand sculpted puppets and masks that are still hand painted, hand dyed, hand stitched, beaded corsets. It's just really, it's an extravaganza.
And how is that? Do you wear a mask or and how is that?
Yeah, yeah. So several characters do. They have, and each mask has a different, sort of a different story that it's telling. If it's a mask that sits completely formulated up on top, that's telling a different story than the one that's sort of half on the head of the younger characters, to where the youngest characters don't have any mask. It's just paint and costuming. And I have sort of the only puppet of its kind in the show. It's a modified bunraku puppet where I'm standing completely behind a puppet that's almost as tall as I am, and
Wow.
animating him. And I'm sort of in green, sort of lightly camouflaged behind this, fully rendered and articulated Timon puppet.
So did you have to learn to make this thing move?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm
Wow.
still learning. You know,
I
all this
didn't
time
learn that in
later.
acting 101.
Yeah, no. Yeah, and they are Disney is great because they didn't hire an expert puppeteer. They hired somebody who was comfortable learning how to use this as a tool to sort of funnel energy. And I had, you know, a pretty good amount of rehearsal, 5, 6 weeks to really get comfortable. And you're doing it piecemeal. You know, you're learning just the lines and just the songs and just the script. I mean, just the
Mhm.
puppet all separately and, you know, in front of mirrors, and then slowly folding them in on one another, to
Uh-huh.
where you're ready for an audience. And then, yeah, like I say, you're still learning all these years in. It's not, you're not done.
Now
You don't
12
become a
years.
complete master.
Yeah, I mean, that was the question. You do it for 12 years. Do you still get nervous?
Uh, Nervous. I think it's translated or transformed into anxious in a good way. Um,
Gotcha. It
Almost
kind of gives
every
you energy almost, or
Yeah,
is that
absolutely. Yeah.
okay?
Like I'll come in through the front and watch people standing in line, you know, people dressed up and with their merch and, you know, with dolls. And you kind of go, oh, this is, and then your heart kind of starts to beat and you go, yeah, this is exciting. This is not a 9 to 5. This is, I get to tell a
No.
story like this every day, and
Wow.
have these folks who are, sometimes saving up, for a while to bring a huge family to come and see it. And I get to be there with them. So yeah,
Is
it's
this your
very
first
exciting.
time at the Fox? At Fox, Fabulous Fox?
I've been to the Fox. I want to say I've been there twice before.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Because I know it's been here. I just didn't know if your company, if you know, because there's a
yeah,
bunch of touring companies, right, that do.
yeah. Well, we're the North American tour, and
Oh,
yes, so
okay.
yeah, yeah. And we've been there, yeah, now several times, and it's amazing to return. I love St. Louis, and I love the Fox. It's
Isn't
beautiful.
it fabulous? It's a beautiful
Yeah,
theater. I mean, I could just sit
yeah,
there and stare at the ceiling and look at all the,
yeah.
amazing artwork.
There's a scene in the show where we're just looking up at the stars, and I'm just doing exactly that. I'm just going, oh, look at this.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So now, how is that? I know I want to get into, I should ask actually a little bit more because I know you've done a lot more besides that led up to
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Timon. I know it's been
Yeah.
12 years, but talk about what you've done before and what led you to that. I mean, we know,
Yeah.
what kind of roles you did, I guess.
Yeah. So prior to that, I was doing largely classical theater. I was, and mostly regional. I've done a few off-Broadway shows, but yeah, a lot of Shakespeare,
Mm.
some of his contemporaries. But yeah, I was kind of carving out my way that way, uh, and
Shakespeare's
across.
hard.
Yeah, yeah, it can be. It can be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you kind of sort of crack it, you go, "Oh, wait, this all makes sense," and it applies to everything, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, the way you sort of
Totally.
break down the script, it really carries over. So, and
Hmm.
particularly with Lion King, there's all these parallels. You know, you see a lot of Richard III, clearly Hamlet,
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
some of the Henrys, some of the history plays you see in there with the characters we get to bring to life. So, yeah.
That's one. Now, how is it for a personal life, if I can get personal, being on the road? Do you have a family? How is that?
Yeah, it is equal parts difficult and amazing. So yeah,
Mm.
I have for the longest time. My wife is in New York at NYU,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, and my daughter, who's now going to start NYU in the fall, had been on tour with me for a long part of that. She was probably on tour, I want to say 8 or 9 years, and
Wow.
we would homeschool and we
Hmm.
drive around city to city. My wife's job was pretty flexible in allowing her to be able to set her schedule and come out to most cities. So I've been very spoiled in that regard.
You're
But
the
it's
real,
not
but you're,
easy.
no, I was going to say, talk about being a Disney dad.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
But my dad grew up in the theater in London. His mom and dad were both in the theater in London. His dad PR agent. So my dad has a whole different perspective on life growing
Yeah.
up in the theater. So I think that's kind of cool thing that you did with your kid.
Yeah, yeah, it's yeah, unparalleled experience
Mhm.
where you just kind of,
Mhm.
and she now going into the arts herself, she knows, all the wrinkles and all the, the what it's like. Oh, you got to find housing, and yeah, now you're going to drive, from Vancouver to Philadelphia, or something like. You go, oh, okay, all right. starts to kind of bring it into sharp focus, and you go,
Yeah,
okay, so I really have to
absolutely.
love this. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
this is I didn't know the Lion King was the world's number one musical. I had no idea.
Yeah, and I have heard the thing, and I could be wrong, but I've heard that it's the largest selling ticketed event, period. Let
I have
alone,
heard that.
yeah, where you kind of go. I mean, that's the scope of that is hard to kind of wrap your mind around. Let alone
I
our production itself is the tour has been performed over 9,000 times. So just that, let alone all the productions worldwide. Yeah,
Wow. And I think the reason why is you kind of mentioned it is that it's like Shakespeare. It touches so many parts of everybody's life. We can all relate to somehow being the kid, the daughter, the son, the mom, the dad.
yeah, yeah.
It's very a family story.
Yeah, right. Yeah, very yeah, the
The
themes are,
relationships.
yeah, the themes, the
Hmm.
relationships, the doubt, the sort of loss of identity and then regaining it and finding it and where you've come from and where you're going to go. Yeah, they're really universal.
If you were to say 12 years pre, you're going to talk to Nick 12 years
Yeah.
ago, what would be some advice you'd give him?
That's a good question. Um, well, I guess I would say, hey, that instinct to sort of go with the flow and just sort of see what happens and see where life takes you is right on, and you're going to be rewarded for it. Because yeah, none of it was uh, self-fabricated or pre-planned. I hadn't vision boarded out. This is my 10 years. I was
Right.
very sort of open to, hey, let's see what happens. I'll stay prepared and as able as I can, but I'm going to just roll with whatever comes my way. And
Could you have
yeah, it's been
told me
great.
that 30 years ago?
Yeah, yeah. If we go
You
back
know?
further, definitely that guy needs to listen.
I
But
mean, it's really just being, you just said it, being prepared, but still being in the moment. And that's
yeah,
what I think
right.
mindfulness is really all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
You
that's
know,
and that carries over for life period, but also on tour where you go, all right, what city am I in, and how
Mhm.
long, and all right, let's see what everything that comes our way, and then get ready
Let's
for the
take
next
it all
city.
in.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Take it
Be
all
here.
in.
Exactly. Present. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And have you been in with, have there other people that have been in as long as you in in the touring production?
Yes, and some longer. We just celebrated our house left percussionist who'd been here from day one. So that's 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, we were fortunate to have several folks who sang on the score of the film. So I mean,
Wow.
sang from the original. So
Oh,
you
I'm
just kind
getting
of go,
chills.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And my Pumbaa, my partner, who's right now on a leave, but he's been there longer. He's been there since, I want to say, boy, 17, 18 years. I mean, something, yeah, ridiculous. Yeah, yeah,
What a great job.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah,
my job. I get to just talk and have fun. And,
yeah, right.
it's just when you do something you love, that's what life's about.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, and
Wow.
every year we take inventory. Our family takes inventory and says, "Hey, is this still working for everyone? Like, is it still fun? Is it still manageable for our family?
Hmm.
All of these things." And we just year by year we go, yeah, it is.
What's the biggest hiccup you think in all the tours? Was there a night when something happened and you're like, oh man?
Oh, there's always little things, but again, that same advice, I guess, is you kind of go, "Oh, great! What an exciting performance tonight was." Where the rock stopped right there. Well, that's where for tonight. That's how it went.
Hmm.
You go,
You
you
just
know,
go with the flow.
yeah, right. And it's kind of you see it sort of sparkle in everyone's eyes as they're like, "Oh, are we doing this? We're doing this. Okay, here we go."
I
So
love
it's
it. It keeps you on your
yeah,
toes.
for
I
sure,
love
yeah,
that. So, Fabulous Fox, again, Nick Corleone.
yeah,
Ni Corleone. Is
yeah.
that
Either one,
Italian?
I love both of them. Yeah, sure is. Yeah.
Italian. Okay. Sicilian or
And it means part of a lion. It is Sicilian, and it
it
means
is
heart of a
Sicilian?
lion. It doesn't get any more circle of life than that.
Aw. I used to live
Yeah.
in Creve Coeur, which now I live in a different part of St. Louis. Creve Coeur is a different, and it's heart is in there somewhere. It's French for heart. I
Oh,
can't remember all
yeah,
of a
core.
sudden.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
core
yeah,
de Leone. Yeah,
quarter,
exactly.
quarter. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think that the whole show is amazing. I'm so excited. People that have seen it before, what would you say to them?
who've seen it before, I say, yeah, come, especially now after, if you had to push pause like the rest of the planet did,
Mm-hmm.
come on back. There's a great moment. This moment if you've seen it before, but Rafiki, this circle of life, she's calling to everyone, come and witness the birth of this king. And it really feels resonant when you kind of go, oh yeah, we're being called back to the theater.
Mm.
It's this moment that's sort of like we're all in this room together, which we may have taken that for granted for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Where you go, yeah, I get to sit here and listen to this story with live people in front of me and live people beside me, and we're all going to enjoy it together. I
For
say
one thing that we all love.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
right, yeah,
And you
yeah.
started to
So
say something. I'm sorry.
no, just that, but I say that if you've seen it before, I think it'll really hum in a way that it hasn't, where you kind of go, oh, right, right, right. This is something special and worth celebrating and celebrating again.
Definitely. And again, Nick, it's so great talking to you. Did I miss anything? Because there's so much that's, I mean, let's see, more than 17,000. Am I reading this right? I got to read this. 17,495, 750 measures of music have been played by the touring orchestra during performances.
I
Really?
believe it. That's a number I didn't know, but I believe it. Yeah,
Okay.
I've been able to sit in the pit sometimes with the orchestra, and
Wow.
yeah, and then you kind of go, oh, this whole thing is happening. I mean, you do know it, but then when you sort of are immersed in it, you go, this is a whole, other wave of artists that are really at the top of their game. Also
Right.
storytelling and supporting what's going on, and in some ways eclipsing it. Some of these solos, it's beautiful.
I can't wait. I'm really excited. There's something on here. I have to read it. The waterfall into which Timon, you, falls is 17 feet per show. This is the equivalent of stacking the Empire State Building on itself 87 times. You
Oh
do
my
that?
goodness. Yeah, well, two puppets. There's a forced perspective, smaller puppet that then falls, and then I become the puppet that's in real scope. So yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
48,
yeah,
48 babies born to members of the tour while they were on the road.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's that family, that sort of traveling family
Yeah.
that we've been talking about. Yeah, for sure.
The words Hakuna Matata have been said over 223,000 times while performing on tour. That's
That
amazing. I just
I
love
believe
that.
that. Yeah,
Wow.
that's yeah,
150. I mean, that's amazing. So, The Lion King, the musical, again, I'm so excited to see you as Timon, to see the whole
yay,
show. And everybody
yeah,
needs to come out to the Fabulous Fox. Support
yeah.
theater, please.
First 3 weeks of June, we're there. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're excited to have you. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Anything you want to do here while you're, don't tell me,
I
you
got
got
to
to
go
go up
back
in
to
the
the
arch.
Oh, well, the arch I've done and I loved it,
Okay,
but
good.
the City Museum has a special place because I got a cold last time I was there, so I had a few days where my daughter and I just spent the entire time at the City Museum. So
Oh, it's great. You know, they have a bar there, right?
I didn't know that. Now
Yeah.
now I'll just be there the whole time. Yeah,
Yes,
we'll be doing the
exactly.
show from there.
It's great, you know. Well, my kids are little go to the bar. No, it's great. City Museum. Yeah, if you've done the arch, I mean, listen, I've done the arch a million times, bringing when
Yeah,
people come visit.
yeah, yeah,
Once is good. The arch is
yeah.
great, but
That's right.
the grounds have changed a little bit, maybe from the last time you've been there.
Aha, I
So,
see. Okay.
and do you have a favorite restaurant that you remember?
Let me
There's the
think.
Hill. I know you've been to so many places.
Right. Yeah. But what I generally do is when I get back to a city, I have to kind of go back through all the starred places on my Google Maps where I'm like, yes, this is where I went to coffee. This is where I went
Mhm.
to, yeah, dust them
Oh,
all off.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So it gives me, gets my head back in the space where I go, cool. So I got to hit those and then find new ones.
Now, can we follow you on Facebook? Do you have a Facebook, or are we following the musical? What's the best way if we want to see what
Oh,
you're up
yeah.
to?
Yeah. I'm there on Lion King's Instagram and Facebook too. But yeah, Instagram, mine is at Milk Toast Points, which is
Okay.
hysterical.
I don't know about that one. I don't know what it
Yeah.
means.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Keep
was like, Toast Points and then Milk Toast, and I smashed them together, Milk Toast Points.
I like it. You are not milk toast, believe me.
That's good. I'm hoping it's one of those ironic things, but we'll see. It might not
Yeah.
be.
Well, we'll definitely follow you, and I'll put the handles up, and so everybody can follow you. And of course, get tickets to see The Lion King. Let's get that
Yeah.
show sold out.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exciting. This is going to be great.
Nick, thank you so much. Really appreciate you stopping by, and
Thank
can't wait to
you.
see you.
All right. Likewise. We'll see you there.